Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live.
Very good afternoon. It's Sunday. We're usually on at 3, but this afternoon we're going to be a little bit earlier than usual. We're not going to be on for the full 2 hours, I may add. We're only going to be on for a bit of an hour. We'll see how things go from this point of view. But I'm not alone. I'm Dave Smith, and I'm joined by Reegan Stevenson. Reegan, how are we?
I'm doing well, Dave. What a day of VAR Scottish football we had yesterday, Dave. It was great to watch. It was great to watch it all unfold. I watched the Celtic game, then I watched the Rangers game, and I watched a little bit of the Aberdeen game. So I've watched a lot of football this weekend, and I'm looking forward to talking about it to your great self, Dave.
Absolutely. We'll start with Friday night. We'll go in order of obviously Friday night, Saturday, lunchtime, and all that. And the opening game of VAR was on Friday evening. That was one game, Reegan, that didn't exactly. It didn't go. It didn't have any bother to it. The VAR, there wasn't much in the way of interruptions, or there wasn't much in terms of controversial decisions. It was a natural game, and people were going, "What's the fuss all about?"
No, I managed to watch this game as well. I forgot about it because I feel that this would be a long weekend, Dave. It's one of the weekends. But yeah, I managed to watch this game. VAR actually done quite well. I don't know if you've seen the game, but Lee Johnson's side got a penalty that was rightly overturned by VAR. They done a great job there. And then St Johnson then got a great advantage by scoring that goal from Nicky Clark. Then was the case that we had the incident with Josh McGuinness, which led to a second bookable offence, which I thought was correct. But I don't know if you watched the game, Dave, but that kind of, as soon as he got sent off, that kind of made it a lot more difficult for Lee Johnson's side, because they were playing great up until then, and then McGuinness gets sent off, and then it completely changes the game. I suppose the one bad thing for Lee Johnson now is that it's 3 defeats in a row, so he'll be not too impressed by that statistic. And I'm sure if it gets to 4 defeats next weekend, I think the fans will start to show a bit of noise. But that just shows you how fickle fans can be, because we had a time when if I think it was Lee Johnson that said it to the radio on Friday. If they'd won that game, nobody'd be talking. But now that statistic's there with the 3 defeats on the trot, then it's still there for everybody to see. So he'll be under pressure. But for Callum Davidson, Dave, it's a massive win.
It's funny because it's 3 straight defeats for Hibs, and for Carl Davidson, he was speaking to the Courier after the game, and he was angry. He was angry at half time. What a response from St Johnstone.
Oh, Dave, absolutely brilliant. I mean, I spoke about on Friday night on the show. I said that obviously Stevie May and St Johnstone like that kind of threat up top, but Nicky Clark is certainly showing why they brought him in from Dundee United. So fair play to Callum Davidson for that.
Absolutely. Where do Hibs go from here? Because that's 3 straight defeats in the trot for them now.
Well, I've not checked who they're playing next, but that game now is massive, because if you look at it, Dave, if Lee Johnson wasn't under pressure already, he's now under it right away.
Who have they got this weekend? That's a very good question. Hibs at home to St Mirren, which is, well, considering how well St Mirren are doing just now, that is a massive game.
Yeah, that is massive, because St Mirren got a great win yesterday, which I'm sure we'll go on to. But yeah, it's a massive game for Lee Johnson, because if he goes there and he loses that game as well, then I'm sure the fans will be disappointed. But what I will say is, it was fantastic to see St Johnstone and Hibs both sell out their allocations for Friday night, and I hope Hibs can do that again on Saturday.
Absolutely. It tells you a lot about St Johnstone, right? They're People describe St John's as an attack line that don't score as much goals. But what a job Nicky Clark and Stevie May do up front for St Johnstone.
Yeah, they're doing well. I was a bit worried for them prior to the game because of the fact that Lee Johnson's got Martin Boyle, he's got Joe Newell. But yeah, I mean, Nicky Clark and Stevie May are banging in the goals for St Johnstone, so they can't complain. And they've got a massive game next week. They're at home to Derek McInnes' side. So I think if you're St Johnstone, this is now time to build some momentum in their season, I think. Because if you go back to back wins, then the confidence starts to grow with the supporters, with the manager, with the players. And I think a few weeks ago, Dave, I'm sure the people of Perth were talking about St Johnstone in for a more dissatisfaction season like it was last season. But now they'll be looking forward to it, going right. We've got a chance here because if you look at it, Dave, I think it's if they get back to back wins, then I'm sure they'll be looking to go higher on the table rather than look down at the table.
Excuse me, sorry, I'm sneezing there. Pardon me. It's a big one for St Johnstone considering I think they're a better side at home than away from home. But the same aspect as well, it shows that St Johnstone show a different mentality to the game when they do travel away from home.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's because of the crowd or it's the way they play football, but I think it was Derek McInnes that mentioned it on Tuesday night. He basically said, "I watched I watched Lee Johnson's side against Dundee United, and they said they basically passed the ball too much rather than getting the ball into the attacking areas, and that's where he took Lee Johnson's tactics and he went, well, how can I hurt Dundee United? Because when you look at that game against Dundee United, I don't think Lee Johnson's side really impacted them too much, but yeah, they'll just be looking to bounce back as soon as they can. And next week against Stephen Robinson's side is a perfect opportunity for them.
Absolutely. When you look at Hibs, I mean, Hibs quite simply need a reaction, but this has got to be worrying for Hibs fans.
Yeah, it is, and I know I spoke about it earlier in the season, but he's a former Hearts player as well. I know he only played something like maybe a couple of games. I saw James McCarthy there, played a couple of games. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it, um, I think they will turn on him pretty quick. But at the same token, what he will what he will cling to is the fact that it went down to 10 men, and that maybe being a deciding factor, like I said, because as soon as McGuinness went off on Friday night, it completely swung the game in St John's favour.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Friday night football. What did you make of it? I mean, brilliant atmosphere, brilliant crowd.
I thought it was great, and I thought the fact that Lee Johnson and the board decided to make it £5 a ticket really brought the occasion together. And I hope they do that for Saturday's game at home to St Mirren, because it shows you that if you lower the prices and if you show the fans some appetite, then they will certainly reward you with their support.
Absolutely. Right, we're going to fish from Hibs St Johnstone. We're going to continue with Friday night Reegan, but we're going to go to Cumnock. It's the battle. I watched that on the telly as well as the Hibs St Johnstone game. A very good game. I was reading Stephen Ray's science vlog this morning. Very, very good, I must say.
Yeah, well, Dumbarton, they got through to the next round by 3-1. I thought Cumnock played well. I didn't see the majority of the game because I was watching the game at Easter Road, but from what I hear, I think Cumnock put up a good show. Did they, Dave?
Yeah. First half, the battle shaded it, but Cumnock did come out in the second half, and the battle just had a bit more oomph about them and then to go and get the win.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great to see. I mean, it's good to see the junior teams go up against the professional teams and really do themselves justice. Because I think if you look at it, I know we speak about it on here all the time. You look at a junior club like Auckland Talbot or a club like Darvel who play in the air. A lot of these teams are a lot of these teams are very good to watch, and but a big result that really shocked me was Bucky Thistle getting beat by Open Goal FC. Did you see that, Dave?
That's a really good win for Open Goal, Broomhill. I'm going to elaborate on that. I think it's a big win for Open Goal because Bucky Broder, I'm no doubt about it, are the top four in the Highland League. I don't think neither will win the league this year, but both of them will be top four in the Highland League. This game was touched upon here. The Scottish Cup third round draw is tomorrow at 4 p.m. So looking forward to that one.
Aye. Are the big teams in it? Well, I don't mean to offend anybody, but are the professional teams in it?
The Championship, League One and Championship teams are in this round, yeah.
Right, well, that'd be good to see Open Goal come up against a pretty good team. But yeah, I think for Cy Ferry and the boys and for the Cumnock Juniors, all these local teams are doing themselves proud.
Yeah.
It's just,
There was some. I was looking at some of the results yesterday, Reegan. You've got like Drumchapel United beat Gretna, and I didn't know that Drumchapel United had a team in the Scottish Cup this year.
no, it's just great to see. I didn't even know that, Dave. I didn't look at the results yesterday. That's how much I've done my homework. But yeah, I mean, it's just great to see Drumchapel United doing well. And I think the Scottish Cup always throws up a surprise. Remember we seen years ago Auchinleck Talbot playing Ayr and them playing Hearts as well last season.
They
I know.
they beat Hamilton last year as well.
Yeah, they beat Hamilton 1-0 and they beat Ayr as well. Remember when Shaitland was there and Ian McCall was the manager as well. Yeah, so I think the Scottish Cup is good like that. It throws up a lot of surprises.
Absolutely. Back on yesterday. Well, we're going to go to Graham's favourite team now. We're going to go to Hearts against Reegan's Celtic.
Hearts, glorious Hearts.
What a game! Sensational.
I did say yesterday it'll be a goal either way. And I do a prediction league, Dave. You want to know my prediction was before the game? Celtic won by 4-2. I was 1 goal out. Yep. And, because I just thought VAR will bring in some controversial decisions, and I thought, right, well, I'm going to go for a really good game, and I did put in the group chat before the game. I says the fact that Shankland's not playing is ideal for Celtic. And then he comes on after 20 minutes and scores a hat trick. So, yep, I mean, I think Shankland's a great player, and I think he's someone that both of the Old Firm teams should be looking at. I thought Hearts were a bit more adventurous. I think Graham will be a bit more happier because Robbie Nielsen against the Old Firm teams doesn't do himself justice majority of the time. But I thought yesterday they did themselves proud. The one thing that I will say is the VAR was a shambles in that game. Absolute shambles. Now, to start off with, you had the Tony Nelson's goal, right? Well, I think it was Stephen Thompson that basically said on Sporting last night that Nick Walsh was not meant to blow the whistle until the action had been done so that VAR could check it. He blew the whistle too early.
I seen the penalty that Shankland eventually scored when I was at Gayfield, and I thought I can understand why he was taken again, but it blows up so many interruptions to the game.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about the penalties, both Hearts penalties were penalties, right? But the thing that worries me, Dave, is see the second one from Jens, right? Now I can see it watching it in the house. I can see it. It was a clear penalty to me. If Stephen McLean and the VAR and also Nick Walsh need to take like 3 minutes to see a clear penalty, and I'm sure Graham's watching right now. I'm sure they'll agree, right? But if Stephen McLean, Nick Walsh, and whoever else is on the assistant referees thing, right? If they can't see that in real time, then that's a big worry that the VAR has to go for such a clear and obvious decision. Because for me, that was a clear and obvious penalty there to Hearts.
Celtic was really getting the job done. I mean, they could easily have had another penalty as well. Celtic, the one where it was handballed by, was it Michael Smith?
Yeah, it was. I mean, absolutely disgrace that was. I mean, Michael Smith, did you manage to see the game?
Bits of it.
Right, so
I've actually seen the last half an hour.
Michael Smith turns away, right? And what he basically does is Michael Smith turns away and looks at the ref and goes, "Oh," as if he's in the wrong there. So how can the referee not see his action, his reaction, and say, "Right, that is clearly a mistake. I've made a mistake." But instead, he goes to the VAR, and the VAR, Steve McLean, can still not see that as a penalty. I just don't understand that. I just don't understand how he can't see that as a penalty.
No, absolutely. Ferrand's Postecoglou, job done.
And, yeah,
On you go, sorry.
and it's job done, Dave. But the point I wanted to make at the end there was totally forgot about. But the point I wanted to make was the fact that Celtic had a job done, okay, right? But if Celtic drew 3-3, all me you would be speaking about today was that VAR decision. So
100%. The show has been belittled about VAR.
So thank God that Celtic won the game through a great goal from Greg Taylor. I mean, Greg Taylor's coming on to a game, Dave. Me and you've been on this show for a long time now, and I've been slagging Greg Taylor, but this season he's really upped his game.
I was speaking to a few friends this morning about Greg Taylor, and they were all saying, and I thoroughly agree with them, that he's underrated.
I could make a good headline. I can make a good headline, Dave, but I don't want you to steal it for your headline in the paper tomorrow. That was tailor made. I don't want you stealing it. I don't want any of your press friends to steal that for a headline tomorrow. Tailor made for Greg.
Well, thankfully, Reegan, I don't write the headlines, so we're all good at that part. Graham comes in here to say, I was really proud of our Hearts yesterday. That's the kind of performance we need to show every week. Defensively still not good enough, and all 4 goals were avoidable. I think the Smith handball was a pen, but for Hearts to be on TV saying Silk had to beat Hearts in VAR was ridiculous. And I mean, that's quite a good valid point from Graham there. For John Hartson to say it's both Celtic and for Celtic had to beat Hearts and VAR, it's to a degree a little bit disrespectful, I think.
Yeah, it is a little bit, but I can understand where he's coming from. I suppose it'll be interesting to see, Dave, because I think after those kind of comments, I think a company like Sky might be saying to John, look, we might not have you on again because that might upset a few people. That's be interesting to see.
It's like the Graham Souness factor.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Well, it was probably the right thing to say, right? But to say it live on air would maybe if he said it to Ali Baba, like maybe at half time when they're not on camera, maybe that was maybe a good idea. But no, say it live on air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. You'd think they'd have so much time off camera where you can go and make internal opinions and observations about the game. But in terms of Hearts, they can get a lot of confidence from this to go into Thursday night when they play RFS.
Yeah, they can, Dave, but they're slightly worrying me a little bit. They're 5 points now off Aberdeen. Now, I'm not saying Aberdeen are going to finish third, but what I'm going to say is I think Aberdeen are in a great position to finish third because if you look at the game last week, they did really well. They played well, but I think for the fact that they're 5 points behind Aberdeen and they played Aberdeen the week prior, I think it's a big worry for Robbie. Also the fact that they've got 2 more games in Europe, the fact that Aberdeen could stretch their potential lead over them, because I think that Aberdeen could go to Ibrox next week and it could cause problems because they've got a really good team. So as much as it was good for them to do well yesterday, I can agree with Robbie. You know, they scored 3 goals at home to Celtic and they still never come away with anything. So it means nothing because at the end of the day, I'm sure if he gets beat next week, I don't know who they're playing next week, but I'm sure if it becomes 4 defeats in a row.
They're up to Dingwall. They're up to Ross County.
Now, I think Ross County will beat them. There you go.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Mr. Freeland. Hello, Mr. Freeland. He comes in here saying VAR just causes more controversy. And it does. It absolutely does. I mean, it gives everybody a different observation on proceedings, and it just complicates things.
Yeah, it does, Dave, and it's really confusing for me that the fact that I think these referees get a little bit, I don't know, I wouldn't say they get a bit of celebrity status, but I think they enjoy that kind of center of the attention. You look at the Nick Walsh thing yesterday. I mean, how many times did he talk in his ear and then did he go, oh, and then he went to the screen for the most obvious things to speak about ever, and it's just strange for me because VAR is supposed to clean up things, but if you're going to spend the guts of 3 minutes to make a decision that me and you and Graham could see that is totally obvious, and Mr. Freelance is completely spot on because what he's saying there is that there's actually there's no need for it. I mean, I was watching the Motherwell game yesterday against Aberdeen. You had the one where Ricky Alami is getting pulled by the jersey by the Aberdeen captain Stewart, and I just think, why was that not pulled in for VAR? We've got VAR now to be there, and it's just not acceptable. Um, but sorry, Dave. I know you want to move on to a different game there. So sorry.
No, I'm absolutely fine. No, it's just I was away to make the point about something completely different, and it was the fact that Thursday, I don't think there's any pressure on Hearts when they play RFS on Thursday. I think it's a financial incentive about it, though.
Yeah, see, I'm quite different, Dave, because I think there is pressure on them because
Right, okay.
RFS, right? RFS are the whipping boys of this group. So Hearts want to go out there and they want to show, right, that 3-0 scoring away. We want to do the same thing at home because as much as we got battered by Fiorentina home and away, we want to give these fans a bit of a memento in Europe because as much as Graham would agree with me here as well, the fact that they don't get into Europe that often, so they want to give their fans momentum and they want to show them that they're doing well in Europe. And I think if they go out on Thursday, that just brings more questions than answers for Robbie Nielsen on Thursday night because that just if he gets beat on Thursday, then his record recently is not going to be good because I think would I be right in saying they go to Ibrox soon as well? So they play Ross County, then they go to Ibrox. So when you're looking at that, you don't really see them winning many games. Like I think they'll get beat off Ross County. Something for the fact that Hearts will be coming off Europe and Ross County will be dying for a win. They then need to win.
Yep, absolutely. When you look at RFS, it's going to be an extremely tough game, though. They took a point off Fiorentina in Istanbul. It's not going to be the game that people are perceiving it to be. I mean, it is going to be a tricky one.
Yeah, it is. And I think if your Hearts, it's just a case of get making sure you do the job, and no matter how you get it done, and make sure you get no injuries because what's been happening in Europe that's hampered Hearts is they've been getting injuries in Europe, which is carried on into the SPFL season. So they'll just be hoping to get 3 points, move on, and straight into that Ross County game next Sunday.
Yep, absolutely. Right, we're going to go to Ibrox now, Reegan. Rangers won, Livingston won. Well, it's a get out of jail card as far as Rangers were concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I watched this game yesterday. I watched the full 90 minutes. I felt that it was a very strange performance, very strange crowd. I feel like the majority of Rangers fans have now switched off from Gio. I feel like they are not buying into what he believes in anymore. I feel like the football is too pedestrian. I mean, right, Rangers are going to dominate the ball, but I'm telling you for a fact, I do not believe that if Livingston go down to 10 men, that they lose that game. Now, for people that didn't watch the game, Jack Fitzwater had a chance straight after Livingston score to make it 2-0. Now, Jack Fitzwater puts Livingston 2-0 up. I'm telling you, Gio Van Bronckhorst is sacked by half time. You know, he's away, and I would be surprised if he's even here by Tuesday night in the Champions League because I hope that Gio I hope he gets a result in Wednesday night and it calms everything down, but I just don't see it because David Martindale's audio from yesterday from the radio interview I heard, he just seems so disappointed to get a draw at Ibrox, and for a Livingston manager to be that disappointed to get a draw at Ibrox, it shows you how bad Rangers must have been.
Absolutely. Gio, it's funny how he's went from the glorified manager or the glorified god to the forgotten messiah within the space of 3-4 months.
Yeah, but I think the important thing to mention, Dave, is that Gio Van Bronckhorst got Rangers to the European final. Okay, but he's lost Rangers the league. He lost Rangers the League Cup, and somewhat the Scottish Cup salvaged their season after losing the Europa League final. So I personally don't think that Gio should survive. I think he will survive because of the finances of the club. I don't think they just gave him a 3-year contract last November. I don't think they'll be wanting to pay him off. One of the interesting factors, Dave, that I'm thinking about, do you think they will go back for Steven Gerrard? Do you think they would?
I think there's a possibility that it could happen. Will Rangers fans respond to it? Will they welcome it? Will they hug the Rangers director, say we're delighted to see where Gerrard's back? That's the big question for me. I mean, Gerrard was brilliant for Rangers in the end, but had it not been Steven Gerrard, who practically, let's not forget this year, Reegan, they had to pretty much they capitalised on Celtic capitulating. That's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the game yesterday, right? And I watched the game, and Rangers had a lot of the ball, and people can say, "Oh, well, Rangers dominated the game. How can you be so negative, right?" But if you look at it, right, you can have much of the ball as you want, but Rangers didn't really. There wasn't a time in the game where you felt, right, Rangers are creating chances here. Livingston are surviving really badly. Livingston were holding their own. They were defending their box well. Obviously, Rangers had the chance early on through Cholak, which I thought was going to end up in a goal. But when Alfredo Morelos gets the guy sent off from that bad tackle, it changes the game. And I think if you're David Martindale, you'll be glad to get a point, but also you'll be saying to yourself, it's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad day when when the Rangers are that bad and we don't get all 3 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's all I was to know. What a performance. And the fact that they're gutted about getting a point from Ibrox shows the amount of work they put into the game and also the mentality of Davy Martindale.
Yeah, and he'll be looking to build on that. Obviously, he's playing Celtic next week, and Celtic have a horrible record at the Tony Macaroni Arena. I think David Martindale will be buying himself a Tony Macaroni after last night's performance. But yeah, looking at David Martindale, he's done brilliant this season. He really has. I mean, they won last week against St Johnson, and then they went to Ibrox. So, from a David Martindale point of view, I think he'll be very, very satisfied what his team are doing. But one thing I want to mention before I stop here, Dave, is the fact that Shamal George, the amazing goalkeeper, he had virtually nothing to do. Ibrox, nothing to do.
And that's how pitiful Rangers were.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching the game, and I'm going, I really can see Rangers dropping points here. I mean, there was a point where that Tom commentator was starting to go, "Oh, the possession's great." I mean, you can have as much possession as you want, but see if you're not threatening the goal and you're not doing anything, then you're really not going to do much. I mean, look at Alfredo Morelos, even Ken. Right now, people were saying £20 million for this guy. Now, I don't even think that this guy would be good in a Hearts team at the moment. He's he's not he's not contributing enough. You know, he's not doing enough to warrant a place in this Rangers team. But you know what the simple fact is? Scott Wright is not good enough. Sakala's not good enough. So he's not got anybody fighting for his place. And that's totally the opposite of Celtic. If James Forrest is a bad game, he's got Haksabanovic, he's got Jota, he's got Abada, he's got I'm trying to think of the other guy, but they've got so many options, and Rangers have not got that. They've got Sakala. Now Sakala tries his best, but he's not a good player. Come on, let's be honest.
This is where VAR comes in. Morgan Boys, right, gets booked for a challenge in Morelos. Has VAR not been in play? We've just been looking at that going, yellow card's absolutely fair. It's absolutely fine that we're getting that Boys is getting booked for the challenge that he put in. The fact that VAR's in makes that look 100 times worse than it is.
Yeah, I don't think it's a red card, but the fact that VAR slows it down and looks at the where the foot goes, I think if that's a league game, uh, and VAR's not on, it's a yellow card. I don't think it's that malice. I just think the fact that we've got VR now, Dave, slowing it down, and it makes all the difference.
I'm going to go to Graham's point that you've put on here, Reegan. It says, generally don't think Newblay will still be at Livingston, but by the end of the January window, you'll surely move to a bigger club. I think his level would be Rangers, Celtic, or an English Championship club.
See, I disagree with that. I think he'd be good for an Aberdeen or a Hearts, where
Right.
they're a bigger club than Livingston, but because he's scoring the odd goal, but I think it was probably good for him to play at an Aberdeen or a Hearts to to show that he can play at a higher level. Because you look at Aberdeen yesterday, Aberdeen have shown that they are meaning business this season under Jim Goodwin. I was excited by them this season, but Jim Goodwin's shown that he's really. He, I think he really believes in these players.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Aberdeen are going places, but back on to Livingston, I mean, they can take a lot of confidence from yesterday and take it to Celtic next week. And I think if they were, I'll be honest with you, Regan, I think if Boys stays in the park, I think Livingston win yesterday.
Yeah, I think as well, and the fact that Celtic have got a bad record at Livingston, obviously they won their 3-1 last year, courtesy of James Forrest and Maeda. But the fact that Celtic have got a horrible record there will be a big worry for Livingston. The only down point for Livingston, I think, will be the VAR. The fact that they're going to play so compact, and the fact that there might be the odd time where Celtic are on the attack the majority of the time. So there could be a chance that Celtic could possibly get a penalty or a free kick or a red card and stuff. So I think for David Martindale, he'll just be going out there saying, if you can produce what you did last week, then that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, my next game for yesterday. Oh, okay, we're going to go to Murrow. Aye, just because of my dad, I'd like to rub it that one in. So, good win for Aberdeen, and VAR did very, very well for the first goal yesterday, Regan.
A massive win for Aberdeen. Massive. I mean, Jim Goodwin's building something there. He's got 3 wins in a row now. Partick Thistle, Hearts, and now Motherwell. I mean, they're starting to build something. You know, I'm not saying I've got a soft spot for Aberdeen now, but I think Jim Goodwin's building something there that I can see a plan, I can see a direction. But that's not what I'm seeing with a Hibs or a Hearts at the moment. I'm not seeing a plan. I'm not seeing direction. I'm just seeing players being thrown together on the park. Same with Rangers. I'm not seeing a plan there. But with Jim Goodwin, you can clearly see that he really buys in, and that the Aberdeen fans are really buying into him by selling out their away allocation again yesterday, and they're clearly seeing that Jim Goodwin's really doing something. I
See,
think,
that's the thing about Jim Goodwin, right? You've seen it at St Mirren as well, where he had a really, really good cohesion of a team. But the problem with St Mirren probably was the fact that budgets and the stature of the club wasn't as big as like an Aberdeen.
yeah, and you look at yesterday, right? I think it was Andy Barger on Red TV basically said that at this stage last season, Aberdeen had only 6 points, and they've got double that.
Yeah.
They've also got double the goals that they scored this time last season. Last season, I think at this stage they scored something like 10 goals. Now they've got something like 22. So it just shows you that it's a totally complete contrast. But like you said, a great goal by Dirk yesterday. It was a check for offside, but it got overruled. Great chip over the goalkeeper by Dirk, and a great win for Aberdeen. The obvious disappointment for Motherwell would be the fact that um, that pull of the jersey by Ricky Lamy, but apart from that, I think Motherwell played some good stuff under Stevie Hamill.
Stevie Hamill was quite disappointed with regards to a penalty decision that went against him at the end. Is he trying to be a? Is he got a valid opinion, or is it him trying to deflect from what was a poor defeat for Motherwell?
He's probably trying to deflect the fact that it could have been a draw, but I think when you look over the piece, Aberdeen totally deserved the win. But I think he's got a valid point with the pull of the jersey. It was a penalty, and for that fact, I would say he's probably trying to say to Motherwell fans, look, we could have had a penalty here. But I think overall, Aberdeen fully deserved their 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. It breaks a way hoodoo for Aberdeen because they went to Hibs and got beat. They went to Dundee United and got annihilated in the aspect of it simply wasn't good enough. The fact that they've responded in such a manner away from home is something to be admired.
Yeah, and big thing for Aberdeen is probably a good time to play Rangers as well. Playing Rangers next week.
I was waiting to elaborate on that. Yeah, if you're Jim Goodwin, Aberdeen are renowned. I'm not like Hearts for a precise matter. They're renowned for going to Glasgow and being shy. I mean, Aberdeen have went to Glasgow in the past and got some big results there. At the same time as well, sometimes you'll see massive opportunities and then they just flush away. You look at Rangers next weekend. There's a great opportunity to get points here.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to go to Ibrox, especially with the crowd being on Gio's back, being on Tavernier's back. You know, this was a Tavernier that only 6 months ago they called the Rangers legend. Um, and that is up for debate. But, yep, I mean, it's a great time to go to Ibrox. And I think if you're a Rangers fan, the last team you want to be coming to Ibrox would be an Aberdeen and a Celtic, and to have Aberdeen coming is it's a good time for Jim Goodwin to go there and say, right, lads, stick to the game plan, be compact, and go and express yourselves.
How much points do you think Giovanni Van Bronckhorst needs next week, both in terms of Champions League and Saturday?
I think he needs a point because I don't think that I don't think see the way that Napoli beat Ajax 6-1. I think if it's a 6-1 again, he's away. I think if it's a respectable 2-2 draw or a 1-0 last minute goal, then it'll be fine. But if it's a 5-0, he's away. We will be talking about it on the locker room show on Wednesday night. He'll be away, and I think Gerrard will be in.
Absolutely. What would be a good season for Aberdeen? Did they have to win a trophy? I think to finish third. I think they need to qualify for European football, but predominantly, or especially sorry if they finish third and qualify for Europa League because that would be massive for a club like Aberdeen. And
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be really, really good to bring European nights back to Pittodrie. Do they have to win a cup? No, I don't think they have to win one this season. I think Aberdeen fans will crave Jim Goodwin winning a cup. But I don't think they need one as quick as this season, Reegan.
they'll be doing well, Dave, if they win the cup because don't forget. I mean, they're playing a really, really good Celtic team in the final, probably because Kilmarnock didn't look too great the other night. I thought. They're playing Rangers in the semi-final, and I think Rangers will up their game for that because they know this is a chance to put the Gio out claims to bed. I know the game's not until March, so Gio may be away by then. So it's an interesting one because for Aberdeen's point of view, that's probably the tie you would have wanted. If you wanted a Rangers, you wouldn't have wanted a Celtic. I don't think because Celtic are in that kind of form where no matter if Aberdeen play well, Celtic can just have like a great game and Jaw could play well or Kyogo could play well, and then Aberdeen might not be onto a winner. But I think if you're playing that Rangers team, it's a great time to play them. I think that obviously there'll be no pressure on at Aberdeen, but I think if they can go there and beat Rangers, then and potentially get a chance at the final, then Jim Goodwin will get a free pass because that's a great result. But like you said, I think the main objective for Jim Goodwin at the start of the season when he spoke to Dave Cormack at the Cormack Training Centre would have been right, Jim. It would have been if you get into the Europa League at the start of the season, that would be good for me.
Absolutely. Right, we're going to go to Paisley, St Mirren 2, Dundee United 1. Well, quite simply, Reegan, St Mirren didn't really need VAR in order to go win the game. Obviously, they had the setback with the goal, but still got the job done.
Yeah, I mean Stephen Robinson's side are not very good to watch, but what they are good at is getting results. So fair play to them. It's quite interesting the fact that St Mirren they're not really that good to watch. They probably their best game was against Celtic actually when they played because Celtic never really dominated that game really. It was all possession, but nothing really in the areas. But I think if you're St Mirren, what position they're in at the moment, sitting, I think it's third in the table, fourth in the table, and for a St Mirren fan to be sitting there going watching St Mirren, and for them to be in that position just shows you the job he's doing. Because don't forget, we were talking about this at the season after them getting put out at the Premier Sports Cup. Could Stephen Robinson be the first manager sacked? But he certainly turned up there, and I think that the fans will be feeling good about themselves. And like you said, they're going to Hib next week, thinking right if we can stay compact, stay resilient, we can definitely get a result here.
Yep, absolutely. A Carl Johan Eriksson own goal to open the scoring, and then Dundee United level through Stephen Fletcher before St Mirren got the winner through Alex Grieve. The own goal, a very poor one from a Dundee United point of view.
Yeah, I mean it's a poor one for Fox, or as Michael calls him, Foxy,
Fox,
because at the end of the day, you set up your team all week, you drill them in training, you talk to the media and say we're going to do this, going to do that, and then your goalkeeper goes and does that. I mean, what chance have you got? Poor Foxy. So, yeah, I mean, for Dundee United, I think they're banging trouble with Ross County. I think they're going to be the bottom two, and I think Dundee United might go down this season after having a great transfer window.
It's funny, I was away to elaborate on that before the end there, but it's actually funny how decisive a win that was for Kilmarnock in so many aspects yesterday, because there's a 3 point gap between Kilmarnock and to Dundee and Ross County, and the goal difference for Kilmarnock is even better than Dundee and Ross County respectively, which means there's going to be an uphill battle. It's a pity that Dundee weren't playing Ross County soon. Obviously, they played last week, but it's a pity they weren't playing again soon, because it has been interesting to see how both teams would have approached that. But back on to Dundee United, sad state of affairs at the moment.
I think they're banging trouble. I don't think the problem was just Jack Ross. I think the problem was a bit deeper than that. It's a bit deeper in that the squad has obviously got its bad roots as well, and bad eggs they call it in football. I think it's got a few bad eggs in there. I don't think the squad's all together. They can't find a proper number one. Obviously, they've tried that Ericsson guy. They've tried the other guy in the sticks as well. So I think they'll just be looking for a bit of stability at the club, and I don't think Liam Fox is that name. I think he's like a Ole Gunnar Solskjaer kind of appointment, where they can appoint within. He's the kind of school teacher approach. But I don't think the big players within that squad are going to listen to him. I really don't, Dave. I'm sorry to say that. I don't think they're going to listen to him.
I think it's a very good point, because Tam Courts and Liam Fox were different in their own right. Tam Courts had a meticulous approach about him. Tam Courts was the type of guy that would always present himself in the most professional manner possible. Liam Fox just came out and said, there's clarity, right? That's all fine and well, him saying that. But at the same time, the difference, I get a lot of impressions about managers based on media interviews. And I get the impression that Liam Fox isn't cut out to be a manager at that
No,
level.
no, he seems very quiet, very reserved, maybe a bit laid back. He doesn't seem like the type that can go through you if you're needing a wee bit of help, or it seems like the guy that just sits there with his notepad and goes, "Right, guys, we're going to have a wee drill, training drill." I don't think he'd be the kind of guy that you could sit and listen to like an Ange or even a Gio, for example, where if 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 Foxy talks, you're going to listen to him. I don't think it's like that. I just think like you look at the past managers that these guys have been under. I mean Charles McGrew, for example, has been under Neil Lennon. He's been under Tony Mowbray. He's also been under I'm trying to think Tam Courts last season. So he knows what a good manager is, and I don't think Liam Fox is cut out. And also, look how long it took Dundee United to get back up. And I think if you're Dundee United, I think you'd be really worrying that he isn't your man. And I don't mean to put this on Liam Fox, but there must come to a point where the Tony Ashcard and the board say, right, well, we are going to need to change soon, because at the end of the day, Dave, right? If it took them if it took Dundee United 3 years to get up the last time, then what happens if they go down this year and take them 3 years to get back up? The club can't afford it.
Sorry, Reegan, Tony Ashcard has a lot of credibility in the bag with United supporters, especially after the Lewis Nielsen news on Thursday.
Yeah, what happened in Thursday with Lewis Nielsen? Sorry.
Basically, the tribunal went in the favour of Hearts, meaning somebody at United had a field day.
Yeah, but well, he's under pressure, and I think that if Liam Fox doesn't get, I don't know who they're playing next, but if he doesn't get a result, then he'll be bang under it, because we speak about all these managers being bang under it, and I'm sorry to say it, but I don't think he's got the authority of the other managers, even like a Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson's been to Bristol City, he's been to Barnsley, he's been to Sunderland. He's got a bit of aura about him. He's got a bit of management about him. But Liam Fox has not got that credibility in the bank.
Yeah, absolutely. United play Motherwell on Saturday, which could be an interesting game.
Is that at Motherwell or at
Tannadice?
Oh, that could be that could be a Motherwell win, that, because Motherwell playing well. And
yeah, totally. In term, I get what you're saying regarding bad eggs, because that was the feel from the outside looking in already at the early part of the season. Big senior figures at the club were getting put on the bench when people were wondering why they were getting put on the bench.
yeah, I mean, it's not hard to work out who the bad eggs possibly could be, but I think if you're a big name player like a Jimmy McGrath, who's been brought in by Jim Goodwin and also brought in by Jack Ross at Dundee United as well, you're going to be like, who the hell's Liam Fox? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Right, but finally on St Mirren. They were everybody's relegation favourites at the beginning of the season. They're still striding out massive results, even at this early stage of the season.
Yeah, they're not playing the most attractive football, but they're getting the results, and fair play to Stevie Robinson and St Mirren. And I think the fans will be slightly hoping that they can get a wee tilt at maybe the possibility of European football.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, you seen what it did to clubs such as Dundee United and Motherwell last year. You see what it did to a club like Ross County when they went to the top six last year.
Yeah, I mean the whole club just bought in. I think that's why Roy McGregor will give Malcolm Mackay time and patience, and he'll back him in the January window, because he knows that Malcolm Mackay is a very good coach, and he knows that he got him to the top six last year, and he's not a miracle worker. So in terms of that, I think if you're Dundee United or St Mirren, then you need to give these managers time. But Stephen Robinson's proved he's a very good manager. He proved that Motherwell as well, David.
Absolutely. No, first off at Rugby Park, fantastic win for Kilmarnock. And I'm going to, before I go into Kilmarnock, I want to elaborate on that Malky Mackay point because Ross County is simply are struggling right now. And Roy McGregor is renowned for not panicking, but he's renowned at making big decisions and letting big managers go.
Yeah,
But Ross County have changed their identity a little bit under Malky Mackay. And I think that's what buys him time.
yeah, and I think they know, right? Malcolm Mackay spoke about this. If you go onto YouTube or you go on any search engine in the world, Malcolm Mackay speaks about how hard it is to bring to advertise Ross County as a club because it's up in the Highlands and people don't know might take their families up there as much as it's lovely, but it's up in the wilderness. You know, there's not much to do there. So I think it'll try and bring in the best people that he knows possible. But Malcolm Mackay's got these contacts from down south, David Cardiff at Watford, Brentford as well. So obviously Arsenal as well. So that's where he got. That's where he got Harry Clark last year, Joseph Humble, and also Reegan Charles Cook. So I think they'll stick with Malky for the long term.
Yeah, I mean, the Highlands isn't exactly the busiest of places, but you get a cracking night out in Inverness, I must say.
Yeah, I mean I've never been, Dave. We must go up there one night for a locker room night out up the Highlands, and you can show us all about it, mate.
Oh, 100%. Right, back onto the game, and it was a massive win for Kilmarnock this yesterday.
Oh, massive 3 wins in a row for Derek McInnes and Kelly. They beat Dundee United and they won in the league the week prior. What they're doing at home, Dave, is interesting because their home form is becoming their fortress, and they're really building something special under Derek McInnes. That Daniel Armstrong I spoke about on Friday night is becoming a real hero for them. They've just got a really good aura about them, and Derek McInnes is shown. You know, it's not the prettiest of football. If you watch it, they're always in the back foot and they're always defending for their lives. Derek McInnes football must be murder to watch if you're a Commander fan. But what he is doing, Dave, he's bringing in the 3 points.
It's a carbon copy to what was like at Aberdeen. I mean, not exactly, not exactly efficient. No, sorry, efficient. Yes, sorry, but he's not exactly a manager that plays in the front foot. He's a manager that will battle and sniff and tongue for points all the time.
Yeah, Dave, we just wanted to bring this point up. Gregory basically is saying, don't want to say this, but the Dundee United appointment is a bit like Ian Cathro when he went to Hearts.
Well, I would agree. I mean, a lot of people said that with Tam Courts, but as I touched upon, I think there's a difference between Tam and Lee in the sense that Tam has a bit of more experience in the managerial sense than Liam has.
Yeah. Yeah, going back to Derek McInnes, he's doing a great job there, Dave, and it just shows you that Kilmarnock under Steve Clark, one of the prettiest, but they got results, and under Derek McInnes is the exact same, and Barley Bowie and all the supporters there will be very, very happy with what's happening.
Absolutely. Where do Ross County go from here? Because that's a disappointing one, especially against a side that, let's be honest, I still think will be a bottom six side in Kilmarnock.
I think they'll be realistic. They obviously drew 1-1 at home last week against
Mr.
Dundee.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think they'll be realistic and they'll say our home form needs to become a fortress, like I said, with Kilmarnock. They obviously they've won, they've drawn their last home game, but then they won the one before that against St Johnstone. I think if you're and then they won the one against Kilmarnock at home. So I think Malcolm Mackay's no stupid, right? Malcolm Mackay knows, right? If they get a few results, they'll be right back in there because he knows that Kilmarnock and Dundee United and St Johnstone even and St Mirren even they're not going to be very reliable with the 3 points. Everybody in this league can beat each other, so I don't think he'll be totally panicking over it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And well, I mean, because Ross County in the past have went and sacked managers because they've either went on a bad run or they've just not it's just not clicked. They've sacked like Beck
Yeah.
Adams on Coyle, big
Yeah.
managers.
Yeah, they have, and just before we finish, I know we're going to finish in about 3 or 4 minutes, Dave, but talking about the championship for a second, what about that yesterday? Partick Thistle 0, Queen's Park 4.
The championship's so funny. So funny.
Oh, mate, that's incredible. And now Queen's Park are just 1 point off top of the league. Come on, the Spiders for the rest of the season.
I'm going to give you one honest opinion in Queen's Park here. They're getting a lot of Gretna vibes from people. I disagree wholeheartedly. I think Queen's Park are doing this the right way.
Yeah, they've got is it Wally Hockey? Wally Hockey that owns them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Wally Hockey has got, it's widely known Wally Hockey is a man in the money, so I don't think it's a great advice at all about it. What Queen's Park do with the SFA Performance School is brilliant. They've obviously got a few players that are in the Scotland under 17s and under 19 squad, so I think it shows that they're on the right track. And they've got Liam Dempster in there, and they've got the director of football from Finals as well.
Holland, the Dutch guy, yeah.
Yeah, so it shows you that they are on the right track, and they've got Wally Hockey, who is a big owner, and he obviously shows that. I think Queen's Park could be the third force in Glasgow soon. I think they could do well, and I think the fact that they're building this new Lesser Hampden, I think they'll be relishing this challenge.
Because I think there's going to be a difference between the top 3 or 4 and the rest in the aspect of everybody can beat everybody in the championship, and that is a massive cliche, but I think Queen's Park, Partick Thistle, and Cali Thistle will be well ahead of the rest. Cali, if Cali didn't have so much injuries, I think Cali would have had a lot of momentum and pulled clear. They've got a lot of injuries just now, Cali. Partick Thistle just can't get consistency about them. But I honestly think that Partick Thistle are the best team in the league. And the Queen's Park, again, are a side that lack consistency as well.
What about Dundee?
I don't think they're good enough to challenge for the league.
Yeah, I think it'll be between Queen's Park and Inverness for me. I think I've seen Inverness against Partick Thistle. Inverness don't look great, but what they do look is very organised, very structured under Billy Dodds. And for Queen's Park to go away to Firhill and get 3 points is unbelievable. That's a real statement of intent. Yeah, Dave, that's my pick for the championship result.
Well, Queen's Park played Dundee on Friday, and that'll give us a good indication of where both teams are at.
Is that game on the telly?
I don't know. I think it's because Stevenson are playing on the Saturday. They're going to share with Stevenson.
Because that would have been great to watch. It really would have been.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I was actually in the tail. I could go and have a look for you, but I mean, Arbroath, a very good one for them yesterday. I was there. I mean, for Arbroath, it was about getting the job done. Bobby Lynn, well, what a difference he's making. 3 goals in 4 games.
Yeah, is that the bin lorry man, Bobby Lynn?
Aye.
The big question for you, Dave, just before we end the show, did you get a square sausage and black pudding pie?
Well, I got one after the game. It was absolutely delicious. You'll need to. Well, we'll need to try and get you up to Gayfield soon to try one. It's actually funny, Reegan, because Queen's Park Dundee is on telly on Friday. It must be because Stevenson are at home on Saturday, because it's Morton against Cali on the TV on Friday.
Yes, well, I'll try and find somewhere I can watch the Queen's Park game Dundee, because that'll be a cracker. I mean, Owen Coyle and Sandy Lyle, I mean, they're doing a great job. Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, it's just great to see the championship thriving, Dave. And thank you for joining me there. It's just great to talk about Scottish football, and we will all see you during the week for some more Scottish football chat. We've got the European nights during the week, and then we're back to the Friday show during on the Friday, Dave. So that'll be good. And thank you for joining me for 60 minutes of football chat for the locker room, mate.
It's been a pleasure, my friend.